Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you for holding the hearing. Thanks to all the outstanding witnesses that we have with us today. My state of California was the first in the nation to implement a statewide paid family program. When California began that process, there were a lot of apocalyptic predictions that were going to come about. Folks said we couldn't afford it, that it would be hard to implement, and it would hurt our economy, and that it would cripple small businesses. 15 years later, none of those apocalyptic warnings have proven true. The overwhelming majority of employers have seen either a positive effect or no effect at all since California's paid leave program went into effect. And small businesses were even less likely to report a negative effect of this policy. At some point in our lives, all of us need to take time to bond with a new child or recover from a serious illness or injury. Paid leave would benefit all of us. The success of paid leave in California and other states across the country that have done this, and in nearly every other developed nation on earth, make clear to us that federal paid leave is in fact achievable. So, Ms. Gupta, you mentioned that 9 out of 10 California employers experience positive or no noticeable effect from their paid leave program. Can you talk a little more about how employers in California view the state paid leave program? Do they tend to view it as an unnecessary burden? And in your view, when states have implemented paid leave policies, have those policies prompted any sort of economic downturn, or have they forced small businesses to shut down?
Thank you for that question. And again, thank you for California's leadership on this. So far, 10 million workers have benefited from California's paid family medical leave program, and there are no reports of employers having any sort of negative impact. If, as you mentioned, if anything, we've heard only that it has had a positive or neutral effect on their productivity, on their profitability, on their turnover, and on employee morale. And we know for small businesses, again, we have heard no reports of this having any sort of bad repercussions on small businesses. Instead, small businesses are able to afford to pay a small amount into the program and actually benefit, again, from higher employee morale, less turnover, and as Mr. Sandkamp said, being able to keep talent and actually compete for talent, which they otherwise would not be able to. You have small businesses in California, just like you have huge businesses like Google, and small businesses should be able to also compete and retain talent in the same way.
Thank you, and thanks for throwing in the part about retention, because I've heard from employers in my district, everything from agriculture to healthcare to the construction sector, and they're all struggling to find and retain workers. That's an important point. Mr. Sandkamp, you highlighted the cost of replacing an employee. I think it's really important to point out we can't just evaluate the cost of a federal paid leave program by itself. We have to weigh the costs of the whole environment in which you operate. Could you talk about the cost associated with losing a worker and finding the replacement worker?
Yeah, so just to start, finding that employee is difficult, but that's the smallest portion. The big portion is training that employee and getting them to be productive as the person that they're replacing. For me, it takes over 6 months to get an employee up to speed, and during that time, I'm at a loss. I'm generally not making money when that person's working. So specifically, the bigger cost for me is getting that person up to be efficient and just as efficient as the person they replaced.
And then once you do go through all the time, trouble, and expense of training that new worker, if you don't have a program in place to account for this, you could run the risk of losing the newly trained and newly hired employee.
Right, exactly. And so I've been in New Jersey now under an insurance model of paid family leave for 10 years, and I've witnessed specifically before leave, I lost a highly skilled worker. After we had the leave program in place, I've retained workers. And because of that, I would say right there, just the savings on training the replacement workers far exceeds the cost of the leave itself. And for me as an employer, I would rather have a small cup of coffee every 2 weeks that I'm paying in, not even a latte, just a little cup of coffee every 2 weeks for each person, and that's basically it. If I have to administer my own program, forget it. It's not happening. I've been in business 28 years, and it didn't happen until New Jersey put it in place for me. And I'm someone that's progressive-minded. I want to do the right things for my employees, but I wasn't able to do that. But as soon as New Jersey did it, I'm very happy to be part of it, and I've been behind it all along. It's something that people don't notice. My employees are aware of it, but they don't see it coming out of their check because it's such a small number.
Thank you very much. I yield back, Mr. Chairman.